Hey, YouTube, I'm Rick Smith, and welcome to Lego Masters Show, episode number this many. There's some people here.
Hello, people.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up?
How y'all doing?
Good.
I was sweating bullets. I'm just going to be honest. I was sweating.
I knew that was coming.
I got really nervous when I saw the base plates, the tan 32 by 32 base plates go up, and I was like, oh no. And then the honeycomb idea was great. The concept was great. But I was really like, oh God.
Yeah, those base plates just made me so, I was cringy. I was like, oh.
So I have to ask Chris a question that probably only Chris knows. I don't know.
What?
Which one of the brothers is older, Mark or Steven?
Steven. Steven is older.
He looks like a child.
He looks like a young Lindsey Graham, actually.
Now I'm not going to be able to unsee that.
Nope. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Ah, darn it.
Go look at it still and tell me I'm wrong.
I will not.
He's got the jowl lines forming already.
Yeah.
I knew I. Damn it. Sorry, Nick.
You didn't invite Nick?
I don't know how I missed it.
There was a haunted build and everything.
So
one of the haunted, but
one of the things that we were discussing in our house was whether it was a good idea to use the golden brick or not. And I voted yes. I thought it was wise to use it, even though their build was okay. But
I don't think they needed it. I think they should have had a little bit more confidence. You know, it's like what my mom always says: someone will always be better than you, and someone will always be worse than you. So
until the final
lose, I mean, that's
send Mel an invite.
He's already got one. He doesn't like me.
oh,
I'm kidding. I love Mel. Mel loves me too.
sure.
Mel,
You don't think I wouldn't send Mel an invite every week?
I thought that you might, but I had to make sure.
Yeah.
What a show. He's right. What a show. That was a show.
It was.
I can't wait for next week.
I will say that I had no good feeling of who was going to place high or low. Like there were a couple ones I was not very confident in the ball and socket build, but it did great. And a couple of the solid builds, I thought that thing's just going to break in half, and it hung on. Like I was wrong about a lot of people.
hey,
All right, Jeff.
yes, ma'am.
So I was watching the show with my brother, who's an engineer, and he was very hypercritical, kind of all the builds, especially the ball and socket one, right? But it did hold up well. It did hold up well, but he said out of all the builds, the best one was Moto's.
Oh.
Structurally, because they made it lightweight. There was enough space in between. They used plates to give it that like stability.
Can I say that they didn't? I'm sorry, Maddie. I'm going to talk.
That's it.
Can I say that they didn't spend enough time looking at their structure, which pisses me off because I'm like, sure, let's look at the crappy outside. Anyway, I think this was the old bait and switch for us because we talked about the reality television ways of being.
Yeah.
They do
You get airtime when you're in the top or the bottom.
Yeah.
Where were they?
In the top.
On top.
Oh, look what he did right there.
Well, it was easy to story Moto into it went from a disaster to a success because they struggled at the beginning or they made it look that way, and then they were behind. Although I'm kind of surprised. I mean, and I'm glad their structure held, but once all the stuff started falling off the side, you know, that was their aesthetic. So they either had to go to the top or they were out. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have the aesthetic. So
I was a little surprised though that they let that much aesthetic fall off. But then I had to like replay what they said the build challenge actually was, a structurally sound structure, and theirs didn't waver or falter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
any of those shapes.
And to decide the winner, it would come down to aesthetics.
Right.
Yeah.
Which-
Yeah.
If there was a tie at the bottom, right?
So did the right out of the three winners, did the right winner win?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
aesthetic reasons, but they
Yeah.
didn't win for the
I think-
structural
I think-
reason.
I think Dave and Richard really had that aesthetic, and they made it to 11.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I thought the best aesthetic was the one with the floral on the outside of it.
Yeah, but it didn't
Yeah,
last.
we're
That
just
was the
talking
small
about
and
It
medium
didn't
size.
last as much, but that one I thought looked the best.
I give you that. I give you that one was a real good looking one.
Yeah.
It took me a minute, but the twins, they're I didn't realize that they had unfinished and put the construction structure up there because they hadn't finished. That was the Lego creativity Lego side of me thought that was wonderful. Just saying.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can agree, but I think to me theirs was the weakest. I mean, the looking and all that kind of stuff. I really think
Pretty.
I think they were the
It was
bottom.
red.
Okay, it's red. Whatever.
He liked
Yeah.
So-
The design aesthetic wasn't that good. So
So what would your design have been?
There it is.
me, I don't know. I don't build towers. I build
I
spaceships.
I know what I
He
would
built
do.
a tower. No. He built a tower.
No.
Don't let
Yeah,
me-
that tower comes apart really easy. So.
I know what I would do. I would do a pendulum to counteract the movement.
No.
That's what they do in earthquake-prone Japan and San Francisco.
And it's
Yeah,
at
but
the
you wouldn't have got that enough weight in there to do that. That would not have worked. It would have hurt you.
I don't know.
Which
Yeah,
which team was it that
Something
had
would have been
the
better than nothing.
which team was it that had the rubber tires at the base?
That was the
They were the
twins.
bottom.
yeah.
Oh,
The
but
bottom team.
I thought that was a really clever idea had they executed it well.
Yeah, exactly. That is the way to do it too.
If you think about
well,
it,
that part held up. It's just the top part that they ran out of time with that just kind of like
Well,
flopped on there.
We never got to really see how they implemented the tires, right?
That's right.
Not up close. No.
Yeah, because I was texting Julian, and my thought was, those 1x2 Technic rubber pieces. They use them
Yes.
sometimes.
Oh yeah.
The rubber
Yeah.
tech,
Things like that.
guitar.
Yeah.
oh,
That's what I thought. Would make a really good base to kind of
Absorb the shock.
absorb the shock. Yeah.
I think
Here's
that would
something
be
you'll never
good.
see on Lego Masters. Are you ready? This is something you'll never see on Lego Masters. There it is. You'll never see it. They don't show them build it. I want to see what
Hey,
Hey.
Hey, you survived.
Just barely.
We're going to turn this one up to 11 that Mark's here.
Hopefully, not just 8.
Yeah. Got to go to 11.
You were freaking Chris out, Mark. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Chris was having a heart attack.
I was
My
freaking me
blood
out.
pressure medicine couldn't take it. So
Oh man, he's right there.
So, Mark, if you could do it all over again, how would you build? If you had this challenge a second time, what would you do?
Still Moto's idea.
Moto's idea was good, but it wouldn't have won aesthetically. in my
No,
opinion.
right. That thing was ugly.
So I think I honestly like Dave and Richards was probably the best in my opinion, just because it was hollow on the inside, it was really light, and it just didn't go anywhere until 11. So I would have probably gone a little bit lighter, and I would have probably added more plates because I didn't put enough and they broke. So yeah.
what was your fatal flaw in y'all's and when it came apart?
Well, we were kind of banking on having a lot of 8x16 plates. And once we grabbed that stack out of there, we were hoping that they would have more in the back, and they didn't. So we would have loved more plates. We ended up having to switch to bricks, and they just did not have the same clutch power as plates. And it probably would have been better to build the same width all the way up instead of going narrower.
Yeah.
So Steven, of course.
It's Steven.
Hello.
Hey,
So,
buddy.
one thing you'll see in all three of the bottom builds is they all have a neck point, a narrow point right there, and each one broke there. So that was clearly a design flaw that a couple of us were running into. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So were you guys able to like request them to go out and get more plates, or whatever's there is what you have to work with?
Sometimes it's whatever's there is what we have to work with, and then sometimes we could say, "Hey, we run out of this size of plate or whatever," and then to the people who are restocking or the producers, and they would say, "Let's check." And so in that case, I don't think they had any more on hand. So, but
did you say I have the number for Atlanta Brick Company? Can I get them on the phone?
Tempting. That was very tempting.
It's on my speed dial.
Yeah, this is a very short challenge. There wasn't a lot of time to go do things off camera.
Hours is nothing.
How many days was it shot over? 2 or 3?
I don't even particularly remember, but I believe it was all the building was done in a day, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was a 1-day challenge.
I believe. Yeah, I don't remember going back for buildings. So
Honestly, that's getting a little fuzzy. Like all the fun parts are really easy to remember, but like the time slots are actually getting harder and harder to remember. It's actually kind of funny how it's working out. But
everyone was so nervous, though. I mean, especially in the first half of the episode, you could really see it. Everyone's just like red-eyed and like kind of like manic look on their faces. So yeah.
Well, the thing that I was thinking as I watched it is, if you watched, other seasons of Lego Masters in other countries, you could get some flavor of what they might task you with. But as far as I know, this was a new thing, and it's kind of like the sequel to the bridge building. So it's the structural stability. Mm-hmm. But if you had practiced bridge building, that didn't help you very much with building a tower. It's a totally different animal.
I feel like that was a nod that said we did practice it, and it didn't happen. Oh,
how strong was your bridge?
Really strong. Take that brick, stand it on its end. It'd have been awesome.
Oh man. So I like to ask the juicy questions.
Brittany, wait, Brittany. Emily enjoys your hair.
Thanks. It's not going to stay like this, but I'm so glad everybody likes it like this.
Right?
I mean, I might have to leave it like this.
All right, go back to talking about makeup. All right, go talk about.
Now back to your regular schedule program.
Right, make it blocks. Go.
So Mark and Steven, whose idea was it to do the structure that failed? Okay.
Steven's idea.
I did the watermelon.
Yeah, so
that was me.
It was my turn, and I'm like, we're gonna do plates because that's what Tyler did, and it worked great. And it didn't translate as well into tower. I think, like we said, the bottleneck, a few things we made a mistake on. So
I feel like if we had like one more hour, it would have looked a lot better. It would have probably been a lot more polished. I think it would have been a bit. I think we could have got to 9 if we had another hour, personally. But there's no way of knowing for sure. But yeah, I started with the watermelon, and we both didn't really like the way that came out. So Mark said, "All right, my turn," and I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. It's your turn."
So another bad day at Lego Masters.
Yeah.
I tell you now. Let me
the
ask
weak
you.
link on this team.
Let me ask you this. Now, not asking whether you win or lose or anything like that, but do you guys feel like you had an advantage or disadvantage because you guys are brothers and build anyway? Great question. Thank you. Great question.
As far as team dynamic goes, I think we felt like we were a very well equipped team. In the fact that we're both builders, we both build for fun, have done so for a very long time. We both know each other very well. I mean, you had brother teams, you had sibling teams, but they might not necessarily still live together or be super close
or share the collection.
So we were like in a good standing as far as team dynamic.
We were happy. Yeah, we were good.
But not necessarily like better than some of the teams that were there. There were some really incredible duos on that season. Yeah. But we felt like we were, definitely doing good.
In there.
Yeah,
we were
doing good. So. Good question, though.
Well,
thank you.
You built together. I mean, I've seen you go to Brick Fair and pull out your trays and like whip something together in an hour, a day before the show opens. So I know that you have that church that I was like, oh, I like this church. And you're like, yeah, we built it after we got here. And I was like, you did what?
You know what's so funny about that church? It didn't fit. It was like 3 studs too big, and we couldn't fit it in the courtyard. So we're like, put it over here. All that work for nothing. People love it.
Nobody needs to know. It could be our little secret.
Just you guys. Just you guys.
I have a question for you guys.
So-
when
so-
you guys seen Moto's build being put out there with just these fake walls put on the side, and you guys put all this time and effort into making a good looking building, and his stood there the entire time. I bet that had to piss you guys off.
Not really.
So it was we were still just trying to figure out how everything was gonna shake down,
Yeah.
pardon the pun, but it was basically it was kind of like are they judging based on aesthetics? Is it ranking? So it ended up that they made an awesome structure on the inside that lasted a really long time. But
Kudos.
because they spent more time on that, the other parts of the build were weak. So and in a way, we spent a little bit too much time on our foundation, and so did Caleb and Jacob possibly,
Mhm.
because they worked a lot on that really detailed bottom, and then so the top wasn't as good because we were just building up. Theirs was they built the core and then they built the outside, so it's like everybody was just suffering from lack of time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they sacrificed the aesthetics on the outside, but
With
the
the
core was
strength,
awesome.
yeah.
So it's like
It was a balance,
Yeah.
and most people had a hard time finding the balance. Some people made it strong but ugly. Some people made it really cool looking but not very good. Some people got the balance, like I think Philip and Maria did a really good job. I think Brian and Lauren did a great job as well. Some of those builds that hung out in the middle were the best overall ones. So it's an interesting challenge. But as far as like, did it make us mad? Honestly, not really.
well, they were our buddies too, so
We were
like
all friends. I mean,
Okay, whoa.
These
Time out. I've
glares.
known y'all for years. I've known y'all for years. You could run over their dog, and they would be like, "Hey, man, that's all right." You know.
So a lot of these like headbutting moments were only sometimes. Like when it really got like down to the wire, we would start to look over. Okay, how are we doing compared to the rest of them? That's kind of where the attitude was. Not like, okay, who's like our biggest rival? It's like, yes, that was there, but that was so small compared to the camaraderie.
we don't go every time Zach and Wayne do anything, you know.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Things like that.
You know, we don't glare at him every time they put a brick down or something. No, it's there was so much love for each other, and honestly,
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
That's cool.
They're trying to make it competitive, but we were all just
Yeah.
a big happy family.
they hype it up a little bit just to say that.
Oh, I believe that.
So Mel Brown from season 1, he had this question that I thought was really good. Considering you guys were under COVID restrictions, he thought that perhaps the shooting schedule was a little bit more compressed. So how many episodes on average did you do in a week?
If you can answer this.
So,
If you can answer.
so the we can't, without going into too much specifics about the filming and details. I know that the first season was trying to shoot an episode in 3 days, and I know that the second season was trying to shoot an episode in 2 days. So that plus COVID restrictions, plus just difficulty with bathroom, lunch breaks. You had to be very careful about who you were interacting with. Made it very challenging. So it was like a third of the time, 2 more teams.
And a lot of
Yeah,
hoops to jump through.
a lot of stuff. So it was very
Intense.
probably like mathematically more difficult than the first season as far as shooting.
So how did the you had to like, hey, coming in, no COVID or something when you entered the bathroom? I mean,
We had our
So
own bathroom trailer
potentially,
about a mile from
maybe, possibly, it averaged out to about 2 a week. Maybe.
yeah.
Roughly, give or take. But I will
Give or
say
take.
it takes a long time to do the judging, like a really long time to do the judging. Like it takes
Yeah.
I don't know, almost a whole day. Just setting up and making sure everyone's build is ready and all that.
It took a while to
taking
shake all
pictures.
those towers.
Yeah, and that's a long process in itself. Just
is the sequence that we see of shaking the sequence that actually happened, or do they rearrange it?
Pretty much.
that's pretty much
It was
right.
it was more close to what happened in this episode than it was in the explosion. They kind of rearranged the explosion a little bit for whatever reason, and then this one is like pretty much in line.
We went first,
Especially
I remember
us
doing
going
that.
first. We thought we were pretty fine at 8 for a while until we realized, okay, no one else has got an 8. So it was interesting.
Did it feel like anybody else was getting? Did it feel like anybody was getting longer at a certain number on the Richter scale than
It
others?
was all the same.
All the same all the way
It
through.
looks different in the final cut, but
Exactly. They just make it dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about 2 seconds per
Per level.
I actually think the dial was like a promise.
It's fake.
I'm hoping somebody other than him was in control.
I just imagine somebody offset just having fun with it, like next level.
What
like a rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It
one of
looked
the
like-
horses. Yeah.
Granola
It looked
bars.
like it
Granola
paused
bars.
before it went to 11.
Granola bars.
The dramatic pause before 11 was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was cool, and that did happen.
Yes.
Did they clarify for this contest? Did they clarify that what the point of failure was? Obviously, like Moto's, it shed all of the side panels way before it toppled. So did they say what failure counted as?
It wasn't.
Was more the focus.
Yeah, it wasn't really super clear because they weren't really sure exactly how it's going to fall apart. But it basically, you could tell when a major element of it fell down, they kind of just were like, "Okay, you're done." So, and I think eventually the whole structure did fall. Like toward the end, it was 11.
Yeah, it did collapse.
But yeah, so you could pretty much tell. Okay, now we're going to call it. So
that was a little ambiguous. I didn't think they expected it to be like that. But I think personally, I think they did fine with what they had. I'm not upset, even though I was in the bottom 3.
Well, let me ask you: were you like, yeah, we got it on aesthetics, we're in the bottom 3, but did you feel pretty confident that they would be okay with your aesthetic was going to kick you through, or what?
Steven was really worried. I was kind of like, I think we have an edge, but at the same time, Amy made it very clear she hated the color tan. So I felt like Tim and Zach and me and Steven had a disadvantage in that regard. So, yeah, very clear.
Well, Tim and Zach had a pretty tan building too. So
yeah, I know. So, also a common denominator in the bottom 3.
We were going for the first. What's funny about our build? Oh, also we didn't get to talk about our stories. That was annoying. But what's funny about our build is we're going for like a casino, is that right? Or a hotel? Right, it was a hotel, right?
It's supposed to be like a resort.
Yeah, a resort.
Casino
We're gonna
is
have
a strong word.
My bad. I'm tired. I actually have to go to bed soon. But anyway, we were gonna do like a resort hotel sort of thing with like palm trees and like neon lights and stuff like that, and make it kind of like. Was we gonna have like a California theme, like the earth was like the California faults or whatever? We're gonna shake it down or whatever. I don't know. That was like an idea, but it morphed pretty steadily into like this Atlantis tower, which we thought, hey, that actually works really well. So the Atlantean, the earthquake, that goes with it. It was like the last building. So
all right. So I'm gonna interrupt you guys because it's my show. No, are you guys gonna rebuild that or build something for the conventions that way you can make it the way you really wanted to make it?
Yeah, so we're going to Brick Rodeo, right? And we're going
I'm gonna be there. I'm going too. Me and Jeff are going. Yep. We'll be there. Yeah, Jeff.
You guys there, but we are planning on making something from probably the first episode, something that's kind of like snake-like, So we're gonna have fun with that because we really enjoyed that build for sure. And then we would want to do it again, but a little bit different. We don't want to have copy because it's technically Fox's property now. So
I talked to Fox. They said it's fine.
Oh, thank you.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Oh, now she's gone.
All right, then.
All right. You don't let the dog out.
Who?
Oh my gosh. How are you guys? Every time now.
We're doing good. Doing all right.
Good. Clearly somebody didn't read my Facebook post.
Maddie, were you rooting for the cat tower?
Yeah, I kind of was. You guys know about the tradition in Belgium, right?
Okay. Sure. We all know
that
was
traditions.
Old news. What?
Belgian waffles.
I forget what city it is in Belgium, but since the 1200s, they would gather all of the stray cats and bring it to the tallest tower in the city, and then throw the cats off the tower.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I mean,
with little parachutes. Little parachutes, right?
Well, this is why, because it was how they controlled the stray cat population. So when I saw that tower, I made this comment, and my brother was like, "This is supposed to be for fun. It's supposed to be for kids." And I was like, "I wonder if they knew about this because it's still celebrated today. They don't kill the cats, but they celebrate the cat."
The dad seemed to be very upset that the cats were on the walls. So maybe he knew.
But let's just be honest, that was really great as I am lint rolling myself right now.
We saw you lint rolling the cat.
This is why,
Yeah.
Maddie, you don't want an HD camera. If you had an HD camera, we would be able to see all the cat hair. So
I guess that's true too, but it's been bothering me lately. Yeah, so we're gonna work on it. Because he's changing my camera view. Stop it.
He's like, you don't deserve to be on camera.
Yeah, he's really mad at me right now. So that's what it be. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself again because I got some more work to do. But
No, okay. Good luck with that. This live stream was brought to you by Maddie's cat.
So Mark and did you guys have any get to go home because you were from the Atlanta area, or because of the COVID thing you had to stay in the hotel like everybody else?
We were just absolutely sealed off from everyone else. We could have Uber Eats deliver stuff, and that's about it. So pretty much it. Yeah.
So you guys were like in an NBA bubble.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Your mom couldn't bring you cookies. She could drop off cookies at the hotel lobby, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, our mom dropped off regular food supplies because
every week at least.
The food that they provided was pretty lackluster, so we quickly converted to our own stuff.
Yeah, that was amazing, and that kept us alive.
She had to pass it through a bubble like in the Bubble Boy episode of Seinfeld.
I'm imagining like a Lego airlock, where stuff would come through.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. But no, we couldn't even leave the
for bricks
property.
before you got it.
What was that?
Checked for bricks before you got it.
Exactly.
So here, can I ask y'all when you got to go home between? I know you couldn't have, or did you bring bricks with you? Did you have them? I know that was legal. If you did you use like Lego Digital Designer or Stud.io or anything like that?
We brought a medium-sized creation for promo shots, and that's all the Lego that we brought. Other than that, we just kind of were like. We mostly were just resting.
Yeah,
we
resting
got
our
back
fingers.
to the hotel and eating and drinking water, trying to rehydrate. So we didn't have a lot of time for extra building between stuff. So.
You would think after all those hours of building with Lego, you wouldn't want to look at Lego afterwards. Like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah. So what do you want to do now? Let's go build.
Build another 8 hours.
Yeah.
So under the COVID protocols back at the hotel, were you allowed to hang out with other teams and socialize, or did you have to quarantine in your room?
That's dumb.
Yeah, because you're interacting with them on a show.
Yeah. So we did one social event
at the very beginning.
It was actually right as the first
where
episode.
everyone was still there.
Yeah, and so we got together, but we were still wearing masks, and it was just us. So, and we were carefully, it was actually in that little hotel. Conference room. Yeah. And we carefully sanitized all the surfaces, and then we could sit down and just chill. But thankfully, the producers were okay with that. That was like the one time we ever even socialized with anyone physically while we were doing all that. So, yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense considering they're having you stand right shoulder to shoulder during all the other stuff.
We weren't trying to think too hard about it. We were just doing it.
Hold on. Yeah, Jen was a nurse actually. Jen was a nurse, so she made sure she orchestrated that whole event so everything was safe. So, yeah, we all felt comfortable. It was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, did Moto show a picture of that? I think he did, of all y'all together. That's cool.
He shared that on his Facebook, and
yeah,
I got a picture too. It's pretty awesome. One picture.
Just what? Just the singular.
You can only take one picture in COVID. That's all,
Did they have you wear masks in, and then they're like, okay, you can take your mask off?
Until the camera started rolling.
Face shields, masks. And,
are you serious? Okay.
Yeah, no touching.
Wow.
You're just single file in, and then okay, take it off, and then
give it to your handler, and then.
And then put it all back on.
And then the season 1 people got to go to like Disney and all that kind of
every Lego store.
Yeah, rub it in.
Yeah, Six Flags was right down the road, man. Y'all could have gone to.
Yep, we could have gone to Atlanta Brick Co. But
so much.
Not when all that stuff's locked down. So.
Man.
So, but while y'all were in the studio, you were unmasked. You could be around each other, right? I mean, if you ran into the brick pit,
we were obviously all giving each other hugs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Air hugs.
Pretty much.
Air hugs.
But yeah, when the cameras were off, the masks were on.
So.
Wow.
So, Mark, Steven, just be prepared for bear hugs when I see you guys in Texas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're ready.
Be ready. I'm gonna hug both of you at the same time, pick you both out the ground, spin you around, put you back down, and be
We're
like,
ready. We're ready.
He will.
He will.
Texas. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
There you go.
Yeah, we're T-minus 11 days, folks.
There you go.
He definitely adjusts your back when he gives you bear hugs.
For sure.
Nick knows what I'm putting out there.
Yeah, we got it's the 26th, right? You guys will be
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
I hope you're ready for this jelly.
It's nice that you two came to Julian's event.
This jelly.
Yeah, I saw the email, right? I've been missing Julian's streams forever. And I after the show is over, I'm like, that was fun. I'm going to check my emails and, Julian's on. Oh,
Every
I really
time.
should join.
Every time.
Every time I've missed it because I forget what times did they air. And I'm always
But yeah, I want to say it was I think it was January of 2020 that I started emailing you. Since then, it's been
a long history of dodging
104
streams.
episodes, at least.
Yeah. They're just big time in you, Julian. It's all good.
That's right. No problem. No problem. They're here.
We're
now.
finally cool enough to show up. There you go.
It took this long, and you're almost cool enough to show up.
Exactly.
Let's go on national TV. That's it.
That's what it takes.
One thing I'm curious about when you're watching the episode on TV, frequently in every episode, they have a contestant that's explaining what they're doing to the audience. How do they get those? I mean, do they kind of come around and they're like, so what are you doing today? They're trying to get you to explain to the audience.
For sure. Yeah. Every build, every challenge, one of the producers with like 2 cameras would come over and be like, so Mark and Steven, what are you working on today? What's your plan? What you calling it? And so then we would then have to then like the story to the camera or like to him right next to the camera. So we're not looking directly at the camera, but we would be like, this is our build, this, and they would also ask us that in the interviews, describe your build. And so they would have multiple audio takes to dub over us building.
Kind of merged. Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
Pretty much exactly as you described.
Yeah.
So those little outtakes where obviously you're not building, but you're sitting down somewhere, those are done after the fact or during your building?
They're actually done after the fact, a couple days later, usually on a weekend. And so
usually Saturday.
You just get in the same outfit and you would just talk about that build from a few days ago. And remember present tense when you're talking about it. So
talking in present tense is hard, man. It's way harder than it sounds. Like we got
That'd be a really bad interview if you got booted.
Try explaining present tense to someone who doesn't speak English. That's hard.
Right now, we're working on this build.
Try explaining present tense to someone who speaks English. That's hard.
Yeah, there you go.
So any aspect of the English language to anyone.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Tougher judge. I think they were both pretty tough. Amy was tough on color. Jamie was tough on technique.
Mm-hmm.
So
he really was.
You had to, if you didn't do the colors right, Amy would get you. If you weren't smart with your techniques or it wasn't structurally whatever, Jamie would get you. So they both had their focus, I would say.
That's what's great about the American Lego Masters is that there's 2 judges. I think Australia only has 1. Where the American one, you have the technique person and then you have the person who's good with the color and the eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I thought this episode they did a really good job of showing each of your techniques and showing what the teams were doing with the build. It was a little less drama, a little more technical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So did the judges really pick apart more of your build off, that's not shown on TV?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did. They edited a lot of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, they took like one line from the judges and usually they would have like 3 lines each to talk about your build.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that'll change as the episodes go on, as there are fewer contestants. So
right, yeah, more
we'll get a little more focus. Sure, we'll get a little more focus on each build for each contestant.
All right, I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right, so I asked this question of Moto because he hadn't been asked any awkward questions yet.
Oh boy. Oh dear.
And I exist. This is my job.
Uh-oh.
So if you could spend 7 minutes of heaven in heaven Am I not allowed to ask that, Julian?
You can't pick your brother either. So that's not allowed.
This isn't
That's
Star
weird.
Wars. Come on now.
And they were never on the
This
show
isn't the
again.
Zoom show. You're good.
No, I'm just curious, is all, because you guys don't get asked awkward. You guys get asked easy questions. Sorry. All these idiots are going to ask you the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
So 7 minutes in heaven, who would you go with for as the cast is concerned?
Actually, that's not that bad of a
This
question.
is not a religious question.
It's not a religious question, but it could be biblical.
I think this is in third Ephesians.
Some reason in heaven?
I think just the Lego bricks in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
That sounds like it would hurt.
What do you
I would just
An
be
infinite
building.
amount of eternal play.
Exactly. If I
Lego
could have a
technique.
brick in my studio, I'd be doing happy.
I think that would chafe after a while, but yeah.
Well, you never know.
That's a spoiler.
We'll have to see.
Okay, okay. I figured I'd go down.
About that.
So
All right,
I
guys.
got a question for you guys, and this is what I call a tough stirring the pot question. Besides Moto and Paris's build, what was your least favorite?
Ooh.
Because we know Moto suck.
Ooh.
I didn't understand the 5, 3, 2.
Oh, the
1,
Fibonacci
1
sequence?
Fibonacci.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Yeah,
that was Fibonacci. Okay, now I get it.
Fibonacci, yeah.
Anyways,
Didn't get it either.
they
Didn't get it.
brought a
No
lot
one
of
ever explained that to me for the whole time I was
right.
there.
So,
No one
so
explained
it,
that to
it
me.
was
What?
the average. Like they didn't. I don't. I feel like they didn't really explain that either. So when
Nope.
that came up, and I was watching with my mom,
they
my dad, and my
explained it.
brother.
They did the 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah, they
1
did.
+ 2
Okay,
= 3.
okay.
Go back and watch.
Equals 5.
Go back and watch Fringe. Go back and watch the Fringe TV series. The Fibonacci
Yeah.
sequence is
Oh,
in there numerous times.
oh my goodness.
Obviously missed that, but I didn't get it, so I'm gonna redact that answer.
Alias as well.
Is
I
it
wonder how many
Alias?
kids at home went, they forgot the 4.
That's exactly
I was
what we
doing
did
that on set.
in my house. We were
Will
like,
said
"There's
that.
something
Will said
missing.
that.
Where's the 4?"
I was waiting for 8. I mean, come on, 8 would have been that much taller.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking for
Okay,
8 too.
okay, you got me there. Never mind. 5.
I don't know if I have a least favorite. Like what are we talking about? Are we talking about overall or
Yeah. No, not structurally. Aesthetically, which one was your least favorite? Moto was the ugliest.
It's a hard question. So I can say this because they did really well, but Jen and Susan's build was aesthetically lacking because they really were having difficulty planning, and then they just had some hiccups. But eventually, they just shot their tower right up at
That
the
was
end,
impressive.
and it held together really long, and they ended up in the top 3 because of it. But because they built so quickly, it just didn't look as good as some of the other towers there. But everyone's tower was rushed. Just didn't like if you give us all 2 or 4 more hours and they would look great, you know. But yeah,
That guy up there.
Oh, haha.
So here's a question. Did you ever use tan again?
that's a spoiler. And we'll have
Okay.
to see.
When you're making a mock for a show, will you be using tan?
Oh, I love tan. I'll be using tan again many times, but I don't know about the show. We have to watch and see. You know.
Yeah. Great. I think you
No
should.
more tan.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, they showed a little bit of the next episode at the end of the episode. And I'm really
Yeah,
excited for
we
that.
don't
Yeah,
watch
that's gonna
that.
be
We
interesting.
come over here and set up. So
Fox, for some reason, just wants to spoil
Show everything.
I know.
And I'm the biggest anti-spoiler. I get really mad at movie trailers because there's too many spoilers.
Yeah, some of them go on for like 2 minutes.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
kind of extra, but that's
I'm
okay.
super extra.
Yeah, she's
okay,
extra.
I'm bougie, extra. I know who I am. Hey, whatever. Take it or leave it. Do what I want.
Oh no.
That's
So
why I
was
married her.
the Rescue 911 show or whatever? Was that all added post or was it as cringy there as it was on TV?
They had the audio and like that was it, if I remember.
Well, no, I think it was one of the producers just reading the lines. But
Yeah.
they added all the and like some of the scenes with her talking to Will and Jamie. They were filming their parts there, but as far as I know, she just did it a little bit later. And responded to their lines and stuff.
Will made it fun though, especially with that phone. We really wanted one of those phones.
I mean, the phone.
I like that, but yeah, it's whatever.
It's the magic of TV.
So what you guys? I'm going to touch on this again. So, legitimately, they ran out of Lego for you guys to build with again. They did that in season 1. Now they ran out again.
So
just that one piece, basically.
That one particular episode, everyone is building a gigantic structure in a very short amount of time. Everyone was running out of everything. So it's like we just ran out of plates. I know Lauren and Brian were running out of large basic bricks because they were building this huge solid structure. So everyone was like, what are the pieces that are left? We were like emptying many sections of the brick pit to build that.
Yeah, you would have thought though, after having the issues in season 1, that they would have not had this happen in season 2.
We said they had 2
million more. What was that?
I said they were bragging about how they had 3 million more bricks this season. So they just had all the wrong ones,
and they still ran it.
None of it was great. Well, in all fairness, you did use a lot of plates.
So when you build structures, you're trying to build for stability. You're trying to lock stuff down, put a layer of plates over top of bricks. And we all know that makes it like rock solid if you do that. But I'm sitting there watching this episode going, all of my instincts would be totally wrong for this because I'm trying to build something that doesn't sway at all. And in fact, I thought, I was curious to see how much the guys doing the Technic going up, if that would give it some sway, some flexibility, or, the guys that had the tires under the floor to sort of cushion it. I thought those were really innovative, but it's not something, I build structures. It's not something I would ever do, building a structure. I mean, it's so outside the comfort zone. I guess that was, when I think back to the question of whether the brothers that use the golden brick, if I were in that challenge in their spot, I would have used the brick because to me, this whole thing was a total wild card. And if it were me, I would not want to get knocked out because of a total wild card, random. If I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose in something where my skill just didn't carry me over the finish line. And those two guys clearly are skilled builders. I mean, they won the first week. So I thought they were smart in using the golden brick, even though it turned out they didn't need to. They didn't know that.
When I saw the Twins Tower, only get an 8. You guys got an 8. I looked at my wife. I said, "Holy crap! A strong team is going to go home." That bothered. I don't want to see strong teams go home. I want to see you guys fight it out at the end. That's what I want. So I was almost, and then I was like, "Oh, good." The dad and the son went home.
Oh, good.
They're okay.
Good. They're expendable, right?
I guess you won't be booking them as guests then.
Hey, look, I talk all sorts of bad stuff.
That's our family. Oof.
That's our Uncle Tim you're talking
That's
about.
our great Uncle Tim, our cousin.
I just said that you guys were better builders. Listen, I'm complimenting you now.
Okay,
Shut up.
Thank you.
Don't make me run over your dog.
Stay back.
All right. So when y'all said goodbye, hey buddy, how are you? Aw. So when y'all said goodbye, did you have time to say goodbye, or they went to the hotel and were gone and stuff, or how'd that work?
We got a few minutes to say goodbye on set, and then they pretty much just were like,
We didn't see
gone.
him after that though. Yeah, so
we got a good hug and a goodbye, but that was about it.
that was a great hug from you, by the way.
Yeah,
At the end.
I'm
Like that
actually
one moment.
super glad they allowed
A
that
human
cut.
moment for this guy.
giving Zach a hug because everybody gave each other a big hug and we're like bye. So
They showed some of that. We spent like 10 minutes just saying goodbye. They're like, guys, can you please wrap it up? We got to keep rolling.
All right, so silly question. When somebody got booted off the team, nobody cheered because you were all friends, according to you and Moto and everybody else that's been on the show so far. Did y'all get around and have like a last supper for them, like the one last gathering with everybody? Nope.
Man.
No.
Said no.
They sent them right off. Yeah.
Well, enjoy your coach plane ticket home. See you at the rally.
See you at a convention later.
Yeah. What conventions are you doing?
Brick Rodeo and Brick Fair, Virginia. So that's end of July and beginning of August, right back to back, actually.
Yeah.
And Brick Fair, Alabama next year.
Yeah, you got to come to the home show. Just saying. Yeah.
That's our home show.
I've been debating.
Are you guys members of Peach Lug? I don't know. Are you or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are.
They were members of Peach Lug before we were.
I was just going to recruit them all.
I got a question since there's people of Peach Lug in here. I got a friend that's been trying to get involved in Peach Lug for a while, and he hasn't heard anything from the brand ambassador, the lazy president, the lazy vice president. You guys can put in a good word for my friend that's totally not me. That'd be great. Technically, I live in Oklahoma, as does
the lazy president, the lazy vice president. I think you just answered your question.
Probably.
Oklahoma.
So back to you, Julian.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I haven't seen you guys at the last lug meeting, so y'all get on the ball.
Yeah. We rarely make those, unfortunately.
It is a bit of a hike, yeah.
Oh, I understand.
Well, they are also
Jason.
They're also technically in the southern branch of Dixie Lug or Preach Lug that we kind of have started in case we need to expand, so there could be two clubs connected together. So
I mean, I could be the ambassador for the west Peach Lug.
Well, let's just say
your friend.
They definitely participated in the bulk lug, so they're official.
Well,
sorry, but I just had to ask.
Good to check. Yes.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know what's going on. First you build castles, now you're joining my lug. I don't know. It's you guys are really copying me. It just gotta stop.
There's room for all the castles, Julian. Come on.
Oh, that's true.
Plenty of land in the kingdom for castles. And skeleton squid monsters too.
Yep.
That looks really cool.
That is cool.
Do you know what that is?
It's from the Space Skulls, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing a collab?
Do what?
Are you doing a collab for that?
No, Mark didn't want to collab, so I'm building it myself. So
sorry, Manny.
Mark's
Yeah, I have to say, you guys I was at Brick Fair, Alabama last year.
Yeah.
Saw your guys' castle build. It was pretty impressive.
Thank you. Yep, that's like a good 6 months of building though. So as you see all the results versus 8 hours,
I just brought a seahorse.
I like your seahorse. I remember that seahorse. It was good.
It was a good seahorse. Yeah. He had the 9-foot castle though.
9 foot, whatever.
Give or take 18 inches here and there,
You got to know it. My castle's better. It's okay. I will do this. This will be the entire 2022 show. It is going to be me getting all over Mark about his castle. It will be, I promise.
Mark, you should build a pink castle just
God.
I don't know, a purple castle.
Yeah.
Mostly
pink castle.
Yeah, maybe just
like two castles across the aisle from each other, and then like catapults, like flinging things back and forth.
That'd be awesome.
It could
be amazing.
Module.
Yeah, GBZ.
Nah.
That'd be amazing.
We'll talk about it.
When you
time wins.
When you go to Virginia, will be you taking your castle up there, or are you mostly going to go to do like availability kind of stuff?
So the castle is no more. I actually took it apart before we started doing Zoom interviews for Lego Masters.
Yeah.
So it's been apart for a little while now, but we'll be bringing something from our episode 1 build inspired by that.
This will be just as cool, I guarantee it.
It's only about 5 feet long and about 3 feet wide. Yeah.
Oh, is that old?
4 feet. Anyway, so it's only about the size of a coffee table, so it's not huge, but it'll still be really nice. Lots of lights and steam and stuff like that. So.
I got a weird question. Not a weird. I got a question. Are you fellas prepared to not ever have a regular con ever again?
Why not?
Because I mean, whether you want to believe it or not, you'll be even after the seasons go. Because like we're still talking about Mel Brown over here.
Mm-hmm. Did you just air quote Mel?
I did.
Yeah.
Mel.
Yeah, because he's iceberg. He's not Bill. Come on.
He's not Mel.
Yeah.
Mel.
So how do you guys think you're going to handle the fact that you're not ever going to get a moment's peace unless you're pooping?
Well, we've been corresponding not only with the season 2 cast, but also with the conventions
And season 1.
and season 1 too, as well. And the conventions, both of them agreed that they're going to hire private security for us.
Well, like handlers.
Yeah, handlers and
So
crowd
like,
control.
Do you have there's a line for that?
Yeah, we'll have.
I didn't get a phone call from any of the shows, so I don't know what you guys kind of crap y'all are going to get. So,
So that's apparently going to be a thing.
We should get extra service.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a thing now.
Julian
Probably
could be
for
our
a while.
bouncer.
There you go. Julian's our bouncer. There you go.
I'm about it.
Let go bouncers.
Everything involved.
There's a little bit of drinking.
Not drinking,
Drunken.
Here's one of the big ones.
No, there was totally drunken involved.
There was probably drunken involved.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
since I've derailed it, you got anything else?
Imagine that.
So do you guys get a lot of requests for like press junkets and stuff like that? Like news stations calling you up or wanting interviews with you?
We got a couple initially, but we have had a little lull since then, and we're fine with that because we're both working full time and doing all sorts of side projects. We're trying to build our websites, and so we're pretty busy. But yeah, at first, and I think we'll probably get some more, either on the end of our run or throughout the show. So we'll as it progresses, we'll probably see us a little more. I know
you'll see us again.
I know Fox 5 wants to do another one with us at some point. So
Yeah, probably at the Atlanta Brick Co.
probably there.
Let's
I didn't
just
know
make
the
sure it's
show
on the
kinda lined
26th so we can
Yeah, just
have,
do it on the 26th.
hold them. Like,
We'll grab the local news. Yeah, we'll grab Fox 5 and everybody, and we'll just have some fun.
Pull Paul Milliken down there. I know that guy. He's a good guy. Just bring him on down.
For sure. Paul is awesome.
Paul Milliken.
I mean, I'm ready to get down. I'm ready to hang out. You and out now. The most important question, Mark, Steven. Are you guys going to go eat food with us when we show up for Atlanta Brick Company?
We totally can.
Yeah.
You guys need to eat with us. That way
As long as it's like burgers or
now, Brittany's going to pick where we're going to eat.
Whoa.
Wait. Are y'all buying?
Hey, there's a Jim and Nick's just down the road from there.
Oh, that would be killer.
If I'm driving like 16 hours, it better not be like a Waffle House that I can go to like 10 minutes away. I want something I cannot get.
The brisket at Jim and Nick's is good.
Oh, Jim and Nick's.
Would Jim and Nick's be okay? There's one just down the road from there.
It's brand new. They just put it in.
Just put it in.
I know what Jim and Nick's is, so that's good.
Yeah.
They don't like Jim and Nick's. They had a bad experience, but I love Jim and Nick's, so I'm there.
Well, we're
Their
trying
pies
again.
are good
It's a
too.
New place.
Was that Jim and Nick's where we went in Bama? Is that
Yeah.
what we went? Yeah.
Yeah, when I was driving and had a freaking attack with all you guys in the car. Yeah, that was it.
You mean
I'm sorry, you guys.
Well, that's
Party
just
of
me
40,
and
that's
Julian.
about what we had.
That's me and Julian are 40, so you need all the rest.
All right, so followers, I have more questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Brace yourselves. So, of all the cast members and everything else, did you ever see jackassery from one of them? Like, oh man, all I need is like this 1x4, and then like said jackass would be like, I'm going to take this bin of 1x4s. Well, like, did that ever happen? Was there ever a moment where you're like, that son of a bitch?
That's a good question.
So trying to remember.
It wasn't actually they discouraged hoarding, first of all, so you weren't supposed to do that. But secondly, everyone tried, like, they grabbed like a handful of what they needed, and there wasn't like necessarily anyone that just like took all of it. That being said, when it was a challenge like this last one, a lot of people were using Technics, so all the pins and axles are gone because like 8 out of the 11 teams that were on that episode were all going for Technic, and it's all gone. So it just that's how the cookie crumbles.
Although one moment that's kind of like that. Like, you know, son of a gun, look what he's doing is Moto. He had all these pockets in his lab coat, and he would just shovel in bricks, you know, and then take off. Let's go to the cargo room. He utilized that. Smart man. He like, I'm taking advantage of this. I got to wear this jacket. I'll wear it, and I'll fill it up. Very brilliant.
So next question. So you two are brothers, from what I've been told, and
allegedly.
allegedly. So you two have been building together for like years and years and years and years and years, right? So like, was there ever a moment when like the cameras are on, the lights are on, it's hot as hell, you've got everybody looking at what you're doing, or you're just like looked at one another and was just like, just shut up and build? You know, was there any moment of that?
A little bit of wanting to, you know, strangling to death. You know?
I would say it was mostly on episode 2, and they really didn't show any of that, which is surprising.
You guys remember? I've been saying this, getting laughs out of people. Do you guys remember Revenge of the Sith? You know, where Anakin, you know, he loses all his limbs. Obi-Wan chops off his limbs, and burning in lava. And he looks up at Obi-Wan and says, "I hate you." That's how I felt sometimes.
So
I know what Anakin was going through.
So you guys are on the same page, you're doing the build, and then like one of you is like, well, wouldn't it be neat if we did this instead? Meanwhile, you're focused on what you're doing, and you look over and you're like, that's not what we decided at all. What the hell is wrong with you? We have a plan. Stick to the plan. Why aren't you sticking to the plan?
We definitely had some of that, Jeff, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Did you guys think you guys had a little bit more of an advantage being brothers, more than, you know, like a team like Moto and Paris who were just put together at the show?
Yeah.
Well, do you mind if I answer this one? Yeah. Well, yes and no, because as brothers, it's easier to get along, but it's also easier to fight with each other. So I think we got along for the most part fine on our run, but there were some times where we're like, we both have really interesting styles, and those do clash occasionally. So yeah, that honestly, yes, that did come up without saying any spoilers.
So bringing that up that you guys are brothers, allegedly.
Jeff's going to ask you to take a DNA test pretty soon.
So you guys do the thing, and you basically live together too, right? Is that what I'm saying? You two are roommates? Okay. So not only were you like in the same room, allegedly. So you guys are in the same room for 12 hours building. You got the hot lights and everything else. And when you were done, was there any moment you were like, you know what? I need to get my own goddamn hotel room. I'm out. See you later, dude.
We actually had our own hotel rooms.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We were married. Only married people have their share. So, and there's only Copa Maria. So everyone had their own hotel rooms was good.
I didn't know
there was times we wanted to just sit down and be quiet for a minute, but most of the time we were actually pretty in sync off camera. We were talking about stuff and figuring out the next plan. So it wasn't. I think it was actually more on camera stress versus off camera. We were just kind of like a little more relaxed, a little bit like, what's the next step? What are we working on? Like, I think that should be blue. That should be red. Whatever.
No,
so you're building, you got the studio, everything else that I just said before. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'll talk longer because more words will happen because of it, ironically. So you're doing your thing, and there's just a moment where you're like, did you ever have the breakdown? Like, not on camera or anything, but like why are we here? You know, like, what are we doing? Like, do we have the cojones to write this out? Or are we going to walk away with $25,000 each? And maybe,
It was the second episode where I felt that, speaking for myself. It was near the end when I'm trying to finish that red barn. I'm like, I just want to, you know, jump off of one of Tyler's bridges right now because this thing was just driving me insane. I really wanted to shove it off the table as hard as I could, but it didn't slide, so it wasn't going to happen. So, yes, for me, it was near the end of episode 2, particularly. That's saying anything without spoilers, obviously, but that was by far the most excruciating. The moment for me was nearing the end of that challenge. It turned out better than I thought it was going to, and better than I even remember looking at it like later. But yeah, that was by far one of the hardest ones. I think the tower actually went together a little better than that one. We were just rushed at the end.
Well, the tower one, we felt good going in, but then it ended up being like,
that wild card
quicker than we expected.
That wild card.
Yeah, it makes sense. So more questions about building with other people in the same room.
Sure.
So you guys are doing your thing, and you're like, you have a minor spat between brothers because brothers argue, and you look over, and everybody else is in like dreamland, and they're like, arm in arm linked and just like building in tandem? Were you ever just like, why aren't we like this? What's going on? Why?
Go ahead. Okay, so we could see around the room that we were definitely like at with each other a little bit as calmly as possible. We didn't want to have the cameras come over and start looking at us too much. But all the other teams were dealing with their own stress and pressure like intensely. Everyone was really stressed.
Yeah.
The only team that really like absolutely never got any issues at all was
That
Brian
we
and
saw,
Lauren.
that we saw.
Because they're just the darndest, nicest people you'd ever meet. And it's almost like a little exasperating how awesomely kind they are to
and
each other.
happy
And
and delightful and just so wholesome. And it's like, how do you guys do it?
That was the only thing that was just like absolute angels.
I don't know. Who did you guys say which team it was? You didn't say who it was.
Who is it? Oh, Brian and Lauren.
Brian and Lauren. Didn't say who it was.
Brian and Lauren, they're the nicest people you've ever met. They're super kind to each other and everyone.
Huh.
So following up on
every
we would be like
friggin' 5
fighting
minutes,
and yelling, and everybody would be like, oh.
Yeah, there's the the good part would be it'd only be for one episode because they'd kick us off.
I love you guys.
Was there ever a moment where you guys, like, one of you walked up to the brick pit and, like, future episodes, I'm not asking for spoilers or anything like that, but you're, like, walking up and you're grabbing pieces and you just hear a team just like, what is wrong with you? Just do it. Like, just going at it. No, they're just like,
I thought we heard that from Paris and Moto.
Yeah.
That happened tonight.
That's them. Yeah. They had a couple moments like that on episode 2 that they really didn't show because there wasn't a lot of time. But there were times where we were just like, oh man, they're having a disagreement about technique or something.
Yeah, the whole thing actually got up. I was too focused, but yeah.
That's the thing about Moto and Paris is that I've pointed out several times, and then people have claimed that they've pointed it out before me, but they're wrong because I did it first. Is that Moto is an artist. He'll sculpt whatever he wants out of Lego and be like, haha. And now it's, we'll make it do something. And then Paris will have to tell Moto, look, man, we need to tone it down. Like, we're not shooting for Da Vinci here. We're shooting for, like, Bob Ross, all right, man? So, like, I just want to know, I'll ask him later, and just to ask him later, like, how much of a pain in the butt was it? I don't hear. I talk to him all the time, and he's laughing right now. So how many times did you witness those two guys, lizard brains, being like, "No, this is it. We have to make it as aesthetically pleasing, but no, it has to function as well. What do we do?"
Well, it's hard to say because those tables are actually really far apart. The room is really big. It looks smaller on the cameras. But yeah, I was kind of focused the whole time. I didn't really pay attention. But did you catch anything?
Just you'd hear a little bit, like if you looked around and you hear a little bit of a heated disagreement. It wasn't. They always kept it toned down enough, but there were times when they got really stressed. And Moto and Paris were definitely involved in that stress that was going on all over.
Yeah, because it just gets to me like when you guys are doing the competition and everything else. There's moments where you're like, okay, well, we've got this awesome, like the float, for instance, right? You got to make the float and you got to make it work. And like in my mind, I'm like, why aren't they just building like a castle with like clouds and like other crap and like dragons and everything else on the float? And then I'm also like, oh, right, because it's got to do stuff. So was that a challenge for everybody there except for like maybe, well, only for Paris and Moto? Was that a challenge like for any of you guys to be like, I don't want to make this thing work. I just made it look, whatever.
I would say most of the teams were uncomfortable with a lot of motion going into that challenge, and so we were definitely among that group. And so everyone was kind of trying to think of something that they could build that they were good at, and would still have something, at least one thing that moved. That was the judging criteria, and so we were thinking. Because it's moving a creature, we both built creatures before. Steven especially built a lot of dragons and stuff. So we're like, a dragon-related thing would be good because we still know how to do that, and we could add movement easier than, say, like a castle or a house or a landscape.
A creature is like alive. It's moving. And Mark built water, which is very fluid, and there's motion. It's funny because we're used to building mocks that are like sculptures. There's raw sculptures. But we knew like right away, like we can't just go to the basics because the judges have already seen that. They've seen it all. They're actually active in the community, and we probably don't see them as much, but they are. They know their stuff, and we can't just give them like, here's a cool mock. It's like, not good enough. I want to see the colors. I want to see a story. I want to see what the category is. So we going in a lot of contests like mock Olympics and Colossal Castle contests. You learn like you need to build for the judges, and that's something you have to learn really, really, really fast. I think pretty much every team did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something you really had to throw a lot of what you knew out the window.
Tan is bad.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'm gonna shut up so everybody else can ask questions because I feel like I've been going on.
I'm actually gonna go. You guys have a great night.
See you, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Have a good night.
I wanted to follow up on one of Jeff's questions.
Go for it, brother.
Which is Jeff was asking about the tension with other tables, but I was more interested in how much when you're busy and building, how much are you kind of scoping out the competition, and do people like stop by the table and be like, "Dude, that's really cool," or is it kind of like you're giving it side eyes or run into the parts room and you're like,
Well,
they're smiling.
What Matt is asking is how many times did you sabotage someone?
We accidentally bump a table. Oops, boop.
Never once, never. Anyway, but no. When
Make every table a shake table as you walk by.
I would have been bumping into stuff. Oh man, that's pretty good. Sorry, I'm fat. Sorry.
Actually,
when we're
I know.
yeah. So when we're guys, so because you're looking at one place for a long time. Eventually, you want to kind of look around. For me, it was always kind of at the beginning. Like, I'm curious what the scale of everybody's is. You know, how big are they going? How small are they going? Like, what are the colors? We don't want to overlap colors. So you kind of look around quickly. Okay, scope it out right off the bat. And like halfway through, you kind of start to check in. And near the end is when you're really looking around. But that's about the, yeah, kind of just all throughout the whole thing.
Did at certain points during your build, did you shake the model just to kind of test it at different levels to see how it was going to do? With
Not really.
No.
Yeah, we should have, but not really.
That's a bit of a risk.
Almost like, what if it falls apart when I shake it and then I don't even get it? Up
well,
there?
I mean, to a certain, you're not going to give it an 11, but you know, maybe a 6.
Man,
we should have thought of that stuff.
That's actually yeah.
No, I mean, the heat of the competition. What are you going to do?
It was it, right? Yeah, you're under pressure. So,
well, one of the best moments in Australian season 1 is the one builder whose name I forget, but he's extremely cocky. He says to the host, "Oh, this is solid." He goes, "You want me to smash it?" And he goes, "Yeah, smash it." And the host smashes it against the bench, and parts go everywhere. And I was dying laughing because he was like, "Yeah, smash it."
Oh man, that's awesome.
That happened on season 2. That exact thing.
So,
have you guys talked to Caleb and Jacob yet? The twins?
No, we have not.
Okay.
You guys are the past mode of the first first people that showed up.
There he is.
Oh, I felt a great disturbance in the ship. I heard my name called 3 times into the mirror, and thus
Hey, that was some beautiful, ugly building you had there.
I mean,
oh god.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, man. You were going home. I really did.
You thought I was going home. I thought I was going home.
Yeah, I was ready to like catch you if you fainted. I was standing right behind you, man. We had your back.
Yeah, well, you got my hair. You got my hair always.
See, Moto's hair would frizz out like crazy, so I had to like, okay, I'll straighten it out for you.
He was constantly straightening. Yeah.
All right, so
Moto. Jeff, hit me.
All right, Moto.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
You know I love you and we're friends.
Supposedly.
Allegedly.
Until this question.
How much of that was Paris and how much of it was you?
The hard hitting.
You want to full screen me?
Tough question.
Jeff, it is always a team effort. It's part him and it's part me.
Lodged in my throat there. Okay.
You can say whatever you want, but every team goes in as a team.
I know, buddy. I know.
Every team goes out as a team.
Maybe we'll talk later.
So
it's going to be the same answer. I don't know why.
So Moto, I'm sitting there watching the show, and you guys had this robust structure going up, and I said, why even bother to put walls on it? I mean, seriously, like if the whole contest is does it fall over, could you have just said, we're not even going to put walls on, we're just going to put every bit of time into the structure, and we're going to come in first because we're going to build this, awesome structure?
Because it's required.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short answer.
Okay.
If you don't, it's disqualification and immediate bottom.
Okay, well, that's why
so when you saw that thing roll in and there was 1 second left on the clock, our table kissed right at 1 second, maybe a half.
I remember that.
Yeah,
So,
it was literally like that close. It was that just wrecked me because I thought we were going to get disqualified for missing the time.
So
that's how bad it was.
So Moto, none of us here that I know of have ever seen you build before. And I'm assuming that when you're in your home and you're not around anybody, it's like, I'll just put this piece here. My masterpiece will be complete until I move it, and then it will fall apart in my hands. But like, how much of that like mindset were you trying to go for when you were on the show? Were you just like, okay, it's just like back home, boom, no problem. No, not even a little bit. Okay.
No. I mean, when you Mark, you guys, or Mark and Steven, you guys can probably attest to this. When you're building a piece of art, I want the best of it, and I want to do some techniques I've never used before, and I'm pushing the boundaries of what can be done. When you're doing competitive speed building, you go with what works and you go with what's super fast, and it's more of a sketch model and getting it done. And Julian, did I say something funny or?
No, I'm laughing at something Nick did. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Moto.
It's all right. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
But no. It's a very different environment. So it's kind of like what works and what do I know is going to work. And, it's a sketch model. You don't have, it takes me 10, 15 times longer at home.
Yeah, and when you don't have that, you're just kind of at the seat of your pants, and you're like, God, I hope my partner knows what I'm doing when I'm doing this.
Yeah, hence what you guys were talking about, where Mark and Steven would pause in their building in order to listen to us debate the finer points of the build.
I just see you and Paris debating like Data and Lorewood for some reason, where it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I cannot use contractions, so you know who the Data is among us.
That's all right, man. Data's the better robot.
How often would Will come around and sort of interrupt you during your build process?
Too often.
Too often? Yeah. I wondered if maybe it was once or twice, but
yeah, quite often actually, depending on how long the challenge was. But I'll let Mark answer that because Moto, I hate to leave the moment you show up. But I gotta get early tomorrow.
That's all right. We're supposed to
here. Tag out.
Great to see you guys.
Tag out.
There we go. Oh, love you, man. I'll see you guys. Great to be on.
Take care.
Yeah, see you.
Me too, crew.
Best of luck on the rest of the season.
That though, folks.
Hey, Julian, don't we gotta land this plane because you got the?
Yeah, like 12 minutes ago, but it's cool. Whatever.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Thank you. You're absolutely. Yeah, I got another show.
We're in overtime.
We're
jumping
it
over to another channel in 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yep.
One cool thing you guys should know is that Mark, Steven, Paris, and myself all were in the same van together. So we actually hung out probably the most.
That's
cool. Who had the worst part
in these early episodes? So I was there to talk to them about, it's not too much green. You have a great build. Don't freak out. It's going to be all right.
But Moto, who had the worst farts in that van?
I wouldn't know because there's a shield down the middle. So whoever farted,
right?
There was a barrier right down the middle and from the driver. So
were you guys blindfolded?
Was that why you guys were asking for more hair?
Well, those two were eating granola bars the whole time, apparently. So I'm just saying.
Everybody was eating granola bars and drinking energy drinks, and maybe that's why they asked for more air when we were on the way home. More air.
All right, gang. We are out of time. We've been out of time for 20 minutes. So, Moto, thank you for coming. Mark, thank you. Steven, thank you. Everyone else that's not as good as them, thank you.
Don't be like that.
Well, we tried and
That's
we
not-
failed. Okay. So,
Okay.
yep. So, so if I don't see Mark again, see you on the 26th. Everyone else that can hear the sound of my voice, show up in Alabama or in Georgia. That's where we'll be. We were going to go up there, and then Atlanta Brick Company decided, oh, let's do a signing for them.
How convenient.
Right.
Yep. Horning in on Julian's big day.
Hey, you know what? There's room for me to share.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait a minute. That's
Yeah.
not Julian's big day. It's my day. I put all that together.
Okay.
It's everyone's big day.
It's for everybody to have fun.
So
You're
from
great,
all,
guys.
from all of us here at the Pink Bucket Nation, all of you at home, remember, you got to love those bricks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.